All right, what's the big move here? All right, I'm going all in on Intel. Why? Well, one reason the U.S. government has never, ever in the history of the United States invested in individuals' stock, as far as I know. And the U.S. government just bought a 10% stake in Intel recently. And not only that, I mean, back when the pandemic hit, like Oracle, even though I never bought Oracle, even it was Oracle was like 10x since the pandemic, and I was gonna buy it then, and Microsoft has like 10x since the pandemic, and IBM, which was another one of my picks back then when the pandemic um, has like tripled. Um, so out of the company, and then Google, when they did their split, they were $100. Now they're $250 or something. And the only thing that is, if I'm going to maintain, be core to my roots, the only thing to me that makes sense is Intel. I mean, it's a gamble, I'd say, but I think it's worth the risk because if you look, I mean, basically the stock is the same place it was 25 years ago almost. They're losing money. Their earnings per share is negative. Um, they got bad news upon bad news. Someone's leaving. There's a shakeup. Blah blah blah. So I don't know where the bottom is, and it could still be going down. Um, but I think the government bought in around $20, so it's up $4 from where the government bought it. But um, all the other like tech stocks, all the other AI stocks have really shot through the roof. Um, I mean, let's look at Oracle. And um, I was gonna buy like maybe five stocks or so back when the pandemic hit, and Oracle was like one of my five. And you can see how much has gone up. You know, and the same thing across the board. I mean, IBM. When I was gonna buy IBM, was like an old, outdated company that nobody wanted to touch. Um, I mean, and it's even off the charts here. But I mean, since the pandemic, I mean, it's gone nothing. Well, nothing here. With the last couple of years, nothing but up. Um, Google. Back here with the pandemic, Google was 70 some, and now it's 200 some. Um, Microsoft. back from when the pandemic, it's not even loading, but it says right there up 150%. You know, you look at Intel, they're down 50% in the last 5 years, and I mean pre pandemic they were, you know, $60, and I've lost, roughly a third of its value since the pandemic, whereas all the other um, I'm interested in light technology, and one of the um, I'm interested in sound waves. I'm interested in magnets because I think that's going to be the future. I might be wrong, but um, I mean Google and IBM both have invested as well as Nvidia, but and one of the billionaires, one of the value investors, David, I believe is a value investor, scooped up some Intel. So hey, if I'm wrong, I can say, hey, I was piggybacking on David Tepper, but that just kind of like confirmed my decision. I was just gonna buy like 5 tech stocks and Microsoft, Oracle, Google, Intel. For whatever reason, I don't know. I don't like Apple. I just think they're gonna fail, and I think they're too heavily invested in China. Now they're trying to get moved to India. I just think it's gonna be a big backlash, and I really don't like Facebook. I really don't like Zuckerberg, to be honest with you. And I do think Microsoft will continue to do okay. Google, Intel, Oracle. Um, I'm missing one of the big ones, and I can't even think of it right now. But I was just gonna go like five. Oh, IBM. IBM was gonna be the fifth one, and just do 20% all of them. But I mean, a share of IBM. I mean, a share of Microsoft is almost $500. I only got 30 grand. Like, what am I going to buy? 2 shares, 3 shares, 4 shares? I mean, what's that going to do? But Intel, let's say Intel does what all these other tech stocks have done and just skyrocket to the moon in the next 10 years and 10x, well, my 30 grand turns into 300 grand. And then if that happens, and then, maybe one day in the next 10 years, maybe Google will be on sale, or maybe Oracle will be on sale, or Microsoft will be on sale, and I can maybe diversify a little bit. I was big into oil, I was big into dividends, but with this AI stuff and I was watching the president's roundtable with all the big tech executives, and you know, he's like, "How much are you investing in the U.S.?" And one was like 200 billion, one was like 800 billion, or whatever it was. Like it was. There's a massive, massive, massive amount of money that is going to be um, poured into, and all these, and and it's a very friendly business environment right now in the U.S. and we're like in a rush for AI. We're in a rush for technology, and um, I hate to say it, but the tech stocks are probably going to win again. I mean, if we were back in the day of the big oil, where the U.S. oil or whatever it was broken into Exxon and all these smaller oil companies, and the same thing with AT&T. Was broken up and well, it became Verizon and AT&T and T and all these. But now, even though monopolies are supposed to be illegal, I mean, we're basically continuing to have monopolies, and that's why these big tech giants, even at their high valuations, continue to go up, up, and up. But out of these big tech giants, Intel, even though they earn negative $5 a share currently, like I said, the U.S. just backed 10%. I mean, the stock has fallen from roughly 60 to 20 since the pandemic, whereas all the other ones have gone up 10x. And this is, to me, it almost seems like a national security interest. And with the government investing, buying 10% of Intel, I think it's I don't think the government's going to let it fail, because if it fails, then what happens? Then we're betting our future on a friendly relationship with China. Um, if China takes over Taiwan, you know, uh, Taiwan Semiconductors. I mean, um, I think we're always going to have a good relationship with Japan. I think we're always going to have a pretty good relationship with South Korea, um, Philippines, Australia, etc., etc. But um, China and Russia and Iran and North Korea and Venezuela and a lot of other countries, you can't. I'm not so sure about. So, hey, if I'm totally wrong, maybe I lose 30 grand. Maybe I start over with a new portfolio. And unfortunately, over the last few years, and I, whereas I was doing really good and making sure I maxed out my Roth every year, this year is almost the end of the year, and I think I've put in $300 or something. And last year was a real struggle. I was out of work several months, even right now, I mean, I'm back to full time employment and got a good job, but I'm pretty much making half of what I was making. Um, so I don't know. And like I said, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I do think if the government invests 10% into this company, I'm willing to uh, take a gamble. If you know the stock billionaire sees some value here, I definitely think it is the cheapest of all the five options. I mean, looking back now, you know, maybe during the pandemic, I should have went all in on Oracle. I would have 10x'd and been looking pretty and looking like a damn genius, or even IBM or Microsoft or any of the other ones. But you know, back then I thought all big tech was pretty much overvalued, and I think a lot of it's still overvalued. But I think the with the AI and stuff, they're going to make some key discoveries and be they're going to make a lot more money, I think, than oil will or coal or in the long run. Yeah, I'm going to miss my 10% dividends, and but I mean, if we're talking about the future here, I mean, one asteroid has more gold than is known to the world right now. So, um, I think technology is going to make a lot more money in the long run. So that's my bet. Taking a big bet on Intel, and hopefully, maybe before the trade goes through, maybe it'll go down a lot. Maybe I can buy it even at a cheaper price. But I think at any moment, you know, Intel could really start soaring, and I do think that this is, like I said, more of a, you know, when I started this portfolio, these weren't really long term. I wasn't planning on holding these things for 15 or 20 or 30 years. Um, I could maybe see myself doing that with Intel. And maybe even with a little luck, maybe it keeps on falling, and I'll just keep buying cheap shares, and hopefully one day it pays off. Well, we'll see. Thanks for watching, guys.